What's going on there, YouTube? Welcome back to Chop Toys. Something a little different here. Finally actually going to do some chopping. I've spent the last couple months kind of just going through my collection and doing videos and showing a little bit of history and information about all these old toys. And haven't had a whole lot of time to actually customize any like I had in the past. So getting back to it. We've got 3-day weekends, Memorial Day. And just hanging out at home playing. So I've got a couple Nylint trucks here. Nylint trucks are very different than the Tonka trucks. They were back in the early 60s, I'm guessing late 50s, I can't remember exactly. They were actually officially licensed from Ford, I think. They were actually made Ford trucks with Ford logos and things like that. And I've got two examples of that here. We have the 59, 58 maybe. It's a 60 body style, is a turquoise one. It's kind of what Tonka was copying. It's got the 3 hood ridges, but it looks just like the real Ford. It's got the wraparound windshield, the wraparound back glass, and yeah, they did a lot of stuff with Ford. They had some little Econoline vans and trucks and stuff like that. And I have had a couple custom Nylints in the past, and of course that was part of my big collection that I sold back in, was it 06? After my divorce, I sold everything I had, even all the customs. And I had the very first pressed steel truck I bought was like the orange one here, which is like a 63, 4, 5, 6, somewhere in that era Ford. And the one I bought was the horse trailer of all. And I think I got it for like $10 at the flea market, and it was pretty sad shape. And I chopped the top and I sectioned it. I never had a bed for it. I had some off-brand Tonka replacement wheels that were really tall. Made my own hubcaps for it. I think I've got some pictures of it at some point. But that was my very first ever, and it wasn't worth restoring. So I sandblasted it and I flat black and the whole 9 yards. But so that was a U-Haul truck, the big box. I got it pretty cheap. That body style didn't used to be that collectible. They really have gotten more popular nowadays. I think I don't remember what I paid. I got it on eBay a long time ago. That was back in the mid 2000s. And I used the box. I sandblasted it. I painted it. Actually, I powder coated it chrome so it looked like a silver U-Haul truck. And I made a Tonka U-Haul. But I cannibalized the frame for odds and ends to mount the bed. And yeah, just had the cab sitting around. It did not have the grill and the windshield. Both these trucks I got, the green one was a ranch truck. It had the flatbed. It was missing all the stakes, missing all the tires, missing the grill. Windshield was broken. I got it really cheap as well. And as I run across replacement parts and stuff, I always buy them. And I've been sitting on all this for years. I've got 2 new windshields here. Both trucks have a brand new aftermarket replacement front grille. The turquoise truck, or seafoam green, or whatever you want to call it, it has a 2-piece grille. The headlight bar is 1 piece, and then the bumper with the mesh is a separate piece, and that's all brand new. And I got to looking around on eBay and I found this bed. Now, I believe both body styles came with the same bed, but it's got the same rectangular fender cutouts as the turquoise cab, so I'm going to use that on this one. I really love the orange and white. It's got a nice patina on it. I don't have a clue what I'd do for a bed or anything on it, but it's going to get its turn under the block one day. But right now we're going to focus on the turquoise truck. I picked up the bed. It's already been sandblasted and primed. There's no rust. It's in excellent shape. And I think I paid like $25 for it. It's a little high, but these trucks, especially that body style, are very popular. And I had done one of these. It was the Speedway Special pickup, or the Speedway hauler, or whatever. It was the one that came with the trailer with the little Formula V type race car. And I had one of those that was in mint condition, just a beautiful truck, perfect original shape. And I had one that was completely rusted out. So the one that was rusted out, I chopped the top, I lowered it, I put these smaller Nylint wheels and tires on it. Now I think I've got a picture of that here too. If not, there won't be a picture here. But yeah, another one I've sold over the years. So the problem with lowering these, the frame has already been modified. I don't remember when I did that. I've cut the tabs off of both of these frames. They've got the marked where the axle needs to be. all that stuff, so they're ready to go. I just got to figure out how to mount the axles back on top of the frame, and we'll go from there. But the thing was, when I lowered the other one, I cut the bed out. I'll show you. So looking in the bed floor, you see it's got little tire wells, and they're way down too low to clear any kind of tuck in the tire. So when I did this before, I cut all this stuff out, and it was just a big mess, burnt through tons of Dremel bits. Really wasn't worth the trouble. And I was just putting this one on the chassis, and the tabs weren't lining up, and I gave it a little tug here, and I realized now that it comes apart and the bed floor just comes out. And we have our bar across the back as well to support the bed. So what we're going to do is just going to take the bed floor out. I'm going to spare my Dremel the trouble, and that'll give us full access to the frame. We can tuck all the way up inside the bed sides and have a cool look. I don't know what I'm going to do for paint on this yet. There's no way I'll match the patina of the cab, so I may just leave it primered for right now. But I'm always open to suggestions. I go through my rattle cans over here. I might have a color kind of close to that. We could give it a try. Again, the patina is something that's just not going to happen, but if I paint it badly enough and sand it down with some Scotch-Brite, we might could get it to look halfway decent. So let's get started removing the bed floor. Alright guys, we have a rolling frame. This process I use usually works better on the Tonkas because they don't have this giant opening in the front. They have a larger flat area, and the proportions and stuff don't add up right. So I had to leave out this piece. These are wire clamps if you're using like steel cable for something, and it basically just crushes it in. But it has these really nice scale U-bolts, and usually I'll use that as like a saddle, set the axle in it, drill holes, put the U-bolt through the frame, and bolt it down. It's nice and tight. The axle, it does not put direct force on the axle. It just locks it in and keeps it nice and straight, and it still rolls. But this not having that width up front, this little narrow section, I couldn't put these in. And in the back I couldn't use them because I need it to set at a different height. On the Tonka frame, you can put these directly on top of the chassis and bolt right through it. Everything jives and works just like it should. But this one I had to do a little different. See a little bit better there. Chassis upside down. Just bolt it through. Simple, crude. It works. It does allow the chassis to still roll. Not fantastically, but enough that I'm satisfied. That's kind of one of the rules I have when I do a custom or slam a truck. It does still need to roll. I want that out of it. With it not rolling freely, it will not slide and fall off my shelf on its own, so I don't have to worry about that. And again, these are Nylint wheels and tires from one of the Broncos or one of the trailers or something like that. They are smaller than the ones that came on this truck originally, and they don't have the Ford hubcaps, but you're not going to be able to see most of the hubcap anyway. So I've got some ideas here on how to mount the bed since we removed the bed floor. I made a little plate. I don't know what I did with it. Oh, it's on the cab. So I'm going to go ahead and mount the cab first. And before I do that, I need to get the roof cap to stay on with the window. Apparently when I replaced the windshield, I never re-bent the tabs. I was probably going to chop top it, but I can't find replacement windshields and roofs and stuff for these Nylint trucks. It's a little harder to find, so I'm not going to chop it just out of posterity because these are not a very common truck. So yeah, let's get the roof cap mounted on permanently, and we'll start putting the cab on. I went ahead and painted the bed the closest color I had to this, and it does not match at all, and I really don't care. So it's been drying for a couple days now. Just a slightly lighter shade of seafoam-ish green, and boom. So I like the look. So let's look around the back here and see how we're going to mount. So looking in the bed, I know it's a little crude, but the bed slides in the front tabs up here and fits up against the cab nice. And we're setting on our tire a little bit. That's why I didn't want to use the spacers back here, because we are hitting the top of the bed side. I really don't want to trim it. I like the way it is. So I think it looks perfectly level. I'm not worried about it. So what I'm going to do here, our bed floor had the original rivet holes right here. I've bent a little piece of tin and going to mount it to that, and then I'm going to drill a hole through the center hole. If you remember, these holes here were where there were spot welds holding the bed floor in, which I didn't see until it was too late. So I did distort that back section a little bit. Again, it's not a huge deal. We're not gonna be used for its original intention anyway. So I'm gonna try to line this up. I want the bed to sit as far forward as possible. There we go. In the groove, so the wheel wells and everything line up nice. And I'm gonna try to flip it over, mark my holes, drill it out on the tin. I'm just going to pop rivet it to it, and then we'll readjust everything, and we'll line up and drill a hole for the back, pop rivet it, and we should be good. Alright guys, there it is. I know this process and things are a little crude. It could be refined, it could be done a lot cleaner, it could be done a lot neater, but this is just spare parts hacking. I mean, this is stuff that, yeah, it could be worth a little bit of money, but I probably got 60 bucks in this truck, including the aftermarket grill and bumper and windshield and all that. And it's just been in a box for the last 5 years, so I don't think it's a big deal. I'm not worried about the paint match for sure. It's better than primer. You know, and this is just the first step. We've got it stanced right. We've got it where it sort of rolls. I probably need to come back and notch the inside of the bed just a little bit. It would allow it to roll. We're rubbing pretty good back there. One of them spinning, but yeah, at least it won't roll off the shelf. I think it's a good looking truck. I think I have some other Nylint wheels. I have a set of hubcaps that came on the, sorry, not Nylint, Buddy L station wagon. If you haven't seen those, check them out. They're kind of cool. They're hard to find these days. But yeah, it had some very cool looking RatRod-y hubcaps for these same wheels. I have a set on an old Tonka truck. I might swap those out. They might look better on here. So stay tuned for that. We may take this thing a little bit further. For right now, it's going to go in the living room on display with the rest of my old trucks. And I appreciate everybody watching and not judging me too much for hacking these things together. But I like it. It's for me, for my display. Just thought I would share with the world what we're doing with these old trucks here, and hope strike some interest in y'all. Maybe we can get out and start collecting or finding these things and giving them new life. But appreciate you watching. Be sure to check me out on Instagram, Chop Toys. And yeah, see y'all in the next video.